Morning, Pro 38. I'm just getting Capitan out of bed. There we go. He's up. It's not that he doesn't like you, it's just he was snoozing. That and his little bed of the Raspberry Pi had recently been rebooted. Alright. Is that scene switcher? Let's get that going. Clean up some stuff here for a moment. Way too many tabs open. I just can't work with that many tabs open. We will just close all of them to the right. Bye. Alright. Coming back here, splitting up stuff. Doing word wrap for the game, and I thought it'd be a neat little crate to kind of build out. We'll see how the crate evolves. We're going to create another type here. Been building out some tests, breaking on certain types of tokens, and at the moment I'm trying to build out some wrapping. Oh yes. Morning Ghoul Software. Oh yeah, Pro 38. Was it you that had pointed me towards a crate? I missed the link and I have not yet gone back to rewatch the VOD. Morning Ghoul Software. But being able to know which of the, I think they're called kanas, K-A-N-A, the small version of the second syllable in that word. Well, I guess you have two words there, right? You have Naya twice. I'm going to butcher the pronunciation of this. But in one case, the latter case, where you have the larger version of the y sound, I'm butchering it. I know very well that I'm butchering this. That one can actually be split up, the second one, which is That one I think can be split into two words, while this one cannot. Oh yeah, yeah, and I was testing out this Unicode segmentation to see if it knew when it could actually split these, and it does not know. As you can see that in both cases it splits each glyph, but it's not supposed to be able to split the first one. And somebody had mentioned a crate in chat that would help detect that, and I don't know what it is. I forgot what it was. Can you see the game I am working on? Oh, that's a great question, Ghoul38. It is, let's see, not up and running at the moment. We might get there a little later in the stream though. But the project itself, the goal we're working towards is a psychological thriller game, so the UI is minimalistic anyways. It's more audio and environmental sounds. All right. Pro38. What's going on? We are working on the psychological thriller game. Here, let's go ahead and just run it for a moment. It's nothing to write home about, quite honestly. The UI. The UI is purposely designed to be minimalistic here. Wow, what is going on with that? Oh, the buttons are huge suddenly. That's unexpected. The buttons are just gigantic. That's odd because I don't think I changed any of that. Maybe the parent is scaled? Did I scale the wrong thing? Translation, keypad. Seems okay. Oh, black screen. Apologies. I wasn't planning on going into Godot and neglected to set it up today. OBS does not think that it needs to remember which windows are which. There we go. I'm actually quite surprised at this. But yeah, so it's a broken interface at the moment. I did not expect it to be like this. I'll have to figure that out later. But it's basically like a keypad, like you're a security control officer on some ship, be it submersible or like extraterrestrial, some spaceship, or maybe even a facility. So you get to hear people's requests for opening and closing doors, turning things on and off. And you'll hear battles that ensue as they win or lose them. And it will be mostly audio based, but you'll be able to control the environment, but not the actual battles. And this is a horrible example of what the game looks like, because I wasn't even expecting it to look this bad. Anyhow, coming back to the project at hand. Oh, you're ill. Oh, I'm sorry for that. You bought a new PC. Nice. Web browser and Rust Analyzer at the same time. You know what? I'm gonna put a sweater on real quick. It's chilly in here. All right, and then we'll get going on our word wrap project, because part of the UI needs word wrapping. I'm doing fonts in 3D space, so we've had some tessellation that we've worked on for font data. So taken font data using a TTF parser's output, tossed it into Lyon to get triangles. And here we are. The next stage is to kind of clean some of this up and to get the word wrap breaking at the right place. We're currently neglecting the size of the glyphs, so we need to fix that. It's this here. Lit. Well, I hope you get better, Pro38. Oh, and something else that helps me. Come on. Enter. There we go. Width is going to be equal to 0 starting out. And next width is, this is actually wrong. What am I using Japanese letters for? Yeah, just future proofing. Just to know what sort of ideas are out there for how to wrap things. Because I don't want to make this crate, which I'm calling TTF word wrap, I don't want to make it such that it couldn't support that in the future. So the first and last tokens that are used. Actually, I don't think I need these two, because given the first and the last token that are selected, we can derive that. Oh yeah, we already do. Perfect. Ah, we are working on TTF word wrap, because I need a word wrap that can work with variable width fonts. The ones that I saw out there, and I did not search very well. I'm gonna say that first off. Thought it'd be a fun little exercise. But it's given a specific width, wrap this text, knowing that the widths for each glyph could be different. Okay. So given a token, we have to look to see how wide a token is. Now tokens in this case, where is it? They're the kind, right? And the token kind is defined right above. Must this be used? Is it optional? Like in English, if you had a white space at the end of a line, you can actually omit it as you went to the next line. And does the token itself cause a new line, like a /r/n or a /n? And then the span. The span really represents what is the range within. Actually, why am I not using a range here? That's a fantastic question. Someone call it a pain in the butt. Oh no, no, we call this challenges. Why in the world are we not using range? Standard.rs/range. Oh, a joke. What do you call a systemd epidemic? Systemdemic. That is a bad joke. That is bad. Because I could use range. Range already has a start and an end. It's an iterator, etc. Let's just use range. Okay, we're going to get rid of span. Goodbye, span. It was nice knowing you. GRM. G-delete. There we go. Deleted it. Now let's go fix those. We'll give this a stash. Okay, that one we already knew was broken. Just gonna comment this out for a moment while we fix up the rest of it. Yep, unresolved import. Mod span no longer there. Just gonna flip through these real quick. Cleaning up some stuff. Alright, 16 errors. Good. Token, range. Ooh. Range. Range. I'm actually typing with gloves on. Standard ops range. There we go. What do I have to give it? Index type? Okay, we'll just use usize. Remember that F is less than F plus I. Alright. Oh, in our tests, does range implement partially equal? Yes, it does. Perfect. Alright, and how do we construct a range? It's just dot dot. So, alright. Yeah, it just, I don't know, OBS disconnected, probably because I'm running Starlink, and Starlink, better than nothing beta, is fantastic, I have to admit. It will give me some interruptions in like a video chat and stuff like that, but I am in the middle of nowhere, so it is, yeah, Starlink happened. Previously, I was on a microwave uplink, and it cost about twice as much as Starlink did, and only was about, you know, let's see, let's say it this way, I couldn't stream at 6 megabit per second. I currently stream at like 1.2 megabit per second. Did your message about fee make sense? I didn't get it. How much is it for Starlink? And PC spec depends. Sid for the win. Starlink, the hardware costs, I think it was about $500, and monthly it's $100 a month. But slash. All right, so we're going to replace that with dot dot slash. Sure. Oh, fantastic. Okay, now we can just go clean up these. And in terms of streaming capability, it depends. You can actually get external boxes which can stream to Twitch, external devices for doing the encoding. So you could actually run a fairly low-end machine and just have some other machine, some other device that you control that does all of the encoding for you. Why no Vulkan support on macOS? Because they're using Metal. Exclusive range pattern. Syntax is experimental. What? Mismatch types. Expected range. Found integer. Do I need to wrap these in a... Oops. No. No good Nick says, some glyphs combine so that their combined word is less than their width if they were separate. Oh, I see. That's interesting. I do not think I'm taking that into account, but those themselves wouldn't get split. Because I'm basically not deciding which characters to split on for this one. I'm doing a white space splitter, so those would be consecutive alphanumeric sequences and wouldn't even be up for being split. All right, this is a little unexpected. Is it because of this? Do I actually have to provide a start and an end? It's like, oh, shoot, okay. That just means we go back to the other file and undo a bit. So I think I was already using start and end. End, start. Let's grab all of these. How many are there? Range. There we go. Oh, that should have been much easier. All right. Some fonts. Make a fancy arrow out of, yes. I'm actually using one of those fonts. And only certain terminals support it, and like it really depends not on the font, but what is displaying the font. Because you could use a font that supports ligatures, only to find that the application that you're using the font in doesn't support ligatures. I'm using Kitty, and Kitty does support them. Oops, if I could type them, see? Little fat arrow. All right. Morning, Maddie Live. How are you? All right. That should work most of the way. Now, if we run our tests, one of them will basically run forever, which is expected, or panic. Oh, that's right. We put a to-do in there. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and commit this. I'm doing well. Doing well. I'm going to stage some of this using Git UI. I like Git UI. It does what I need. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Line builder. What are we going to do with line builder? The option we can take. This will take. That after we do this, I want to rename that span. Okay, we'll just basically take all of that. Commit it. Remove span. Use. Here, replaced. Range. We're going to go into token, replace this. Should still work. Just make sure. Great. What are we doing today? We are working a crate called TTF word wrap. So a word wrap that can use a font to determine the width. Line builder. Yeah, yes, we'll keep that, that. Uh-oh. All of this looks good. Token range. There we go, cancel out of there. Now back to line builder. So we've gotten to the point where we can tokenize a string that has white space in it. If we look at the white space tokenizer, I've got some tests down here. Like in this case, we try to create a white space iterator over like a single word. We'll get a single token. Here we've got some white space, some new lines surrounding the letter A. You'll see that we get 3 tokens that come out of it, and some of them are new lines, the first and the end, first and last, and then the middle one is required. I have tried Vim Fugitive, and I'm using Vim Fugitive. I just don't use it for, I don't know, for that last flow where you review and commit pieces. I love how simple Git UI is in terms of being able to select portions of code, like sections of code. It just, I don't know, it feels more natural to me than Vim Fugitive. Yeah, that's Tim Pope, right? Vim Fugitive. And I use it for renaming files. Also use it occasionally for doing blaming, moving files a lot around, deleting files. But for that last little bit, the status, or things like that. Like having to manage the windows as I go around and do these things, just I don't know why. It just feels more laborious to me. I've been using it for like 2 years. Just I keep finding myself going and using the git command line instead of Vim Fugitive for the commit phase. All the other stuff in Vim Fugitive I use. So given that now we have a tokenizer, a white space tokenizer, and the other thing that we have is a trait. So if somebody wanted to implement their own tokenizer, they could do that and return tokens, and then the word wrap would know how to wrap. All right. Where's my water? All right. So, given that we now have a tokenizer, oops, let me turn that off. Okay. We have a white space tokenizer, and somebody else could provide their own inside of the options. Come back to lib. We have our one-line test that we're trying to get to work. It doesn't work yet. That's right, because we shivved it. Oh, wrong file. I want word wrap? No. Line builder. There it is. So now this is the part where we start to measure each glyph and determine where we should wrap based on the length of the words, the actual measurement of the words, not just how many characters there are. Token no longer has span, it's range. We got rid of start, that's right. Because this whole next width thing doesn't make sense. We need to be able to measure a word. All right, we're going to skip forward on this song. I feel like we need to be able to measure a token. So given a token and a font, I want its width. I think at this point I do have the font, or the font face. Where is it? Do I not? Or was it passed in? Oh, that's the iterator. You should probably be passed in here, or our line iterator doesn't have access to the font yet. Well, that's a mistake. So we currently pass it the maximum width in what's called EM. And the text, the tokens, because the tokens point to space, point to portions of text, we also need to give it the font. Self.font face. Now, is that what we want, or do we just want some way to measure a token? Maybe we give the token some other, something else that could actually do the measurement. Just another layer of abstraction, because what if somebody didn't want to use TTF parser? Maybe there is, we go to crates.io. I want to use TTF parser. But that doesn't mean that everybody wants to use TTF parser. I think there are other ones. Free type and STB true type. So if somebody did want to use, let's say, a free type, how would we give them that ability? We would have to be able to take some other mechanism here, something else. We need some sort of glyph measurer. Call it a glyph tailor. Tailored for glyphs. Oh. Yeah, let's not pass the font face in. Let's keep the font face isolated a bit. Instead of us receiving a font face here, we need something else. Source. Glyph sizer, glyph dimensions. And then, depending on the feature flags, we could have glyph dimensions for TTF parser, for free type, glyph measure map. It's good too. Obstruct. Glyph dimensions. This should be probably a trait, not... Uh-oh. Rechatted, failed me. Glyph dimensions, there we go. And we're just gonna go ahead and build this out for TTF parser. And then afterwards, we'll come back and make it work for, say, free type, and then maybe STB true type. What is FTL license? Faster than light? All right. Struct. UTF. I don't know. foobar just for a moment. I want to come back here to word wrap and see how that's going to look. Because we're not going to take a font face anymore. Going to also, well, we're going to take a glyph measure, technically. And do we need a lifetime for that? Because this glyph measure, say foobar, ETF, parser, dimensions. Which is going to implement that is going to take a reference to a face, so it's going to need a lifetime. So it'll need that, even when it goes to implement it. Simple glyph dimensions for TTF. I don't like the way that TTF taps out. Oh. Uh-oh. Oh shoot, I forgot to plug my computer in. It's just a part of the stream where I go searching frantically for power cable. There we go. Alright, that's in, and let me kill off anything that doesn't need to be on at the moment. But we're doing pretty good. What else? Signal that. Just closing some apps for a moment. All right. Okay. Back to where we were. So we can have a TTF, parser dimensions, if a certain feature flag is enabled, etc. We'll come back to this. I wonder, maybe we just have 3 different implementations of glyph dimensions, and we just call it glyph dimensions. But then if somebody had their own and wanted to pass a new one in, they couldn't. Ooh, that's challenging. Do we want that ability? Is that's how we've been doing the rest of this, right? Just pass in your own. We don't care. Provide a default, but... And this TTF parser. Oh, we'll leave it for now. All right. So in this case, lib needs to know about this file. Mod. What's it? Glyph dimensions. Yeah, that's going to be unsettling. Definitely cringeworthy. All right. And then our options, if we wanted to give the ability to provide a different glyph renderer, glyph measure, Oh, glyph dimensions. Ah, yeah, I'm stuck on measurer. Glyph dimensions, there we go. Then we could take that and go on with it. Missing struct field glyph dimensions. Yes, you are correct. Let's see, I think the default one that we are going to use is... I say we just call it glyph dimensions. No, default glyph dimensions. Because based on the feature flags, only one of these is likely to exist. Default dimensions. There. And we get rid of the other ugly bit. Right now this case here, yeah, it comes off of TTF parser. Missing lifetime. That's right. That goes over on this side for this. Let's pull that out in this. That's an option. So if it's not specified, dot unwrap or else. Same thing as above. Box new. Default dimensions. Ooh, we can't really do this, can we? Because at this point we need a font. They'll have to pass in font dimensions. We can't do it this way. Just because it needs the face, the font face. I should have seen that before. Well, it's required. We can put it here. And if we're going that route, we could make it generic. All right, options, we will make generic. No, font dimensions, glyph dimensions. Huh. Which does mean that when we come back in here, we have to undo this and go the other way. Back to our ugly TTF parser dimensions. Oh, that's right. We've been here already. I undid too far. Is that? All right, so those are back. We're going to make options generic based on that type. Max width followed by the type with dimensions. It's no longer optional. Great. Oh, for option builder. Yes, this is getting passed into the builder itself. That's fine. I'll fix that in a moment. The terrible documentation here. No, this is just glyph dimensions. Self.glyph dimensions. Mutable reference to that. Great. That means this also has to be generic. Alright, so we remove the default, pass that into the options. Our builder is about done. Let's go back to our test. Now we have to pass in a glyph dimensions bit. So we've got our font base there. Let's go ahead and create a new for this. So the library is eventually going to scream at us for that. Okay. Close that. Go back to lib. Pass in the font face, and then we give it here. Now our options know which glyph dimensions we want to use. It has a font face. Let's come into wrap here. Oh, wrap is unknown. I don't believe you. It's going to be in word wrap. We no longer need the font face here. Oh, that's right. That's interesting. Wonder. Means we could do default. Oh, and our lifetimes get a little bit easier here. Because we have lifetime for B. And B is no longer dependent on A. The self no longer has a lifetime like that. Ah, yes, and this has to be generic now too. All right, we are not passing the font face in, but we should pass in the measurer. See, it's not going to like this because we're borrowing glyph dimensions mutably. I mean, maybe this could be done in a non-mutable way. And modify build. We also take the glyph dimensions. Ooh, you know what? I forgot to add a constraint to all of these. Basically, when I add a constraint here, this whole thing is going to light up. Yeah, can't add this like so. Can we do it? We need GATs. Oh, no. Type with dimensions. What are we working on? Where will this tokenizer know when to wrap be used? Wrap uses the tokenizer. We are working on a word wrap. So given a specific width of space and the true type font that you're using, where should the words wrap? All right. Clean up some of these errors, and then we will see now. This word wrap, well, I think we've actually walked into something that we can't get past with that associated trait type. Because line builder now needs an associated trait type here, which, oh, maybe here? One more of those. Oh, where do we use that? In my game. So I'm building a psychological thriller game, which is mainly audio based. And you'll have a very simple editor, and you'll have a little readout, some text that you'll be able to choose options from. Yeah, so I'm actually rendering TrueType fonts in 3D space inside of Godot. So I'm using the TTF parser along with Leon to tessellate shapes, well, tessellate the fonts. and position them in 3D. Wow, this might actually work. What? Consider using moving build into another trait. Oh, it can't be made into an object? Because of the associated trait type. That's the little trap I was expecting. Okay, I knew it was somewhere. Didn't know when it would show it. Because I'm trying to use a trait object. Basically something that has a V table. And by adding the associated trait type, it is no longer a trait object. Yeah. For a trait to be object safe, it needs to allow building a V table to allow the call to be resolved dynamically. For more information, visit this location. Oh yes, original ribbon. That's exactly what's happening. It seems like such a, non-game specific library. I think it could be useful to other people. All right, object safety. It must not require that self be sized. All associated functions must either have a where self sized bound or not have any type parameters. Interesting. Although lifetime parameters are allowed. So maybe we just need where self is sized? But no associated constants. All supertraits must also be object safe. Okay. When there isn't a self-size bound on a method, the method receiver must. Okay, let's add the self-size bound. I want to see something else down here though. See where self is sized and where x is t, or generic t. I guess we could try to do it like so. I mean, I pushed it into an associated type like so, but build here could have that. Whereas self sized. Okay, that might have solved it. However, it probably broke everything else. Have to be dramatic there. Everything. Let's delete these. Okay, now we should run into some other issue. Ah, yes, and in this case, we do have a second see, our function signatures do not match. Glyph dimensions, GD. Where self/slef is sized. That means that its size is known at compile time. It's like that. This chain. It's like Clippy. Oh, wait, I want the vid. We'll snippet. It's like the guy shows up, he's delivering things, and they had just had that battle. Everybody's cleaning, and she walks down the stairs. It's like Clippy. Just like put Clippy's face over Lara Croft there. All right. The build method cannot be invoked on a trade object. Why? All right. Oh, new is private. Let's go fix that. Bike shedding before we get into the like nasty stuff here. Start. Oh yes, and this one we knew. Keep coming back to this code. It's not ready for prime time. There we go. Line builder 14. Has a size requirement. Oh, word wrap 26. So it's saying that build cannot be invoked on a trade object. It doesn't say why. This has a size requirement. Isn't that what it said? That this trade is object safe, but these methods cannot be dispatched on a trade object. Oh, I didn't read the comment. See, I thought that was allowed. That's too bad. Self-type isn't known until runtime. All right, let's figure out a different way through this. Because who really needs this? I think it's a line builder needs this. We keep giving, yeah. Down in here, inside the line builder, where we're calling next, we want to know what the glyph dimensions are. Right? And the glyph dimensions, whatever this is, has to have some sort of measure function. So if we were to come in here and give it a function, we could ask it to measure a token. So function measure take self, or then self here is going to be given a token. And this should return the size, let's see, the width of this glyph. Say it's U32. This is a trait. So that would have something like so. Save that. Okay, now that that's our little faux implementation here. We come back and do something with it. Let's go back to line builder. Inside of line builder, where are we going to store this? We could store it on self. So we could give it to line builder, but it feels like it's more of an options thing. Because line builder, I don't think line builder should really have it. So we're going to use it inside of this area, measuring these tokens to see if the next width, and let's go ahead and finish writing this code. The next width would be, you know what, we could put it on token, say token.width, and pass it the measure, the glyph dimensions. Oh, that's another way of doing it. Just have somebody be able to implement a trait for the tokens themselves. Then we could pass in something that they needed. We should be able to hold on to that long enough. Ooh, I like that better. Now let's go into token. All right, here's token. Simple token. And token here. You know what? No. We want a trait. Pub trait. Token width. Function width. Takes a token and returns a U32. Then all you have to do is implement token width. But we have to give this token width thing. Well, let's come back to line builder. Yeah, we have to be able to pass it the state. And then that state has to be something else that's held onto and passed in, which would be fine if it was some sort of token dimensions or glyph dimensions. Token measurer. So technically it doesn't take a token, it takes a reference to self and the dimensions. I'm falling out of love with that name there. So let's work backwards from this point. We have our... Wait, what's it say? No method... Oh, I mean, this is silly. And why don't we just have a glyph dimensions that takes that then? Yeah, that won't work. Token plus existing width. That's going to be the next width. And that's going to have to be passed into line builder. A line iterator. Yeah, we could box it up like everything else here. I'm doing that because I don't really want to add it as a generic type. Problem is, when we get back to glyph dimensions, well, actually that's not bad. Yeah, this'll work. Oh, and this needs a lifetime, doesn't it? Or does it? I think it's going to need that because we have this here. It's going to need to know what A is in these cases. I think the lifetime for A is kind of implied there. All right, now who makes a default line iterator? Here. What is this? The line builder, the default line builder. Moofrey, morning. I tested Bevy and went back to Godot native and, excuse me, GD native with Godot. But yeah, we first started this project using Bevy. All right. I'm gonna get rid of GD here. Where sized, it goes away because we need to treat this as a trait object, which means that in this case we could box dine with dimensions. That one needs its own lifetime. All right, we'll try it without. I think we're gonna have to come back to it though. Expected zero type per. Oh, there's an error somewhere else. That's fine. How have you been, Moofrey? How's your weekend going? Just gonna copy paste this a little bit easier. Okay, there's our builder. Now we also need the lift dimensions. Okay. Now we have self.glyph dimensions. Great. I'm gonna come back to line builder. Say missing structure fields, glyph dimensions. Where? Oh, that's true. We don't actually want it on default line iterator. We want it. Oh, wait, no, we do. Here. Default line iterator is passed to glyph dimensions. It has one here. Do we even use the new for default line iterator? I don't think we do. It says it's pub crate, but I think it's dead code. Ended up staying up 25 hours working than playing EverQuest P99 years. Wait, EverQuest P99. All right, let's go back to options. So I think we can get rid of glyph dimensions type parameter here. Oh, which means we're going to delete a few more of these. Tab back, 4x. Which means that it could be optional, but we're not going to make it optional. All right. Oh, no way. Wow. Wow. Oh, that's crazy. That's cool. Man, I have some time lost in that. Option builder no longer needs this either. Okay, where? Ah. So that's an interesting error. In one case, it's expecting box. The other one, it's just a mutable dyne glyph folder, which we could change here. Oh, I see. It's a mutable reference. I mean, arguably, we could do the same thing with tokens in this case. Type and trait. What's he complaining about now? Oh. Yeah, and in this case, it wants a boxed one. Okay. Because we cannot specify in the struct that this is just a, or can we? Can we say that this is a mutable reference, exclusive reference to a dyne? And then we need the lifetime. Oh. In Arc launched in November, you played it for like a month. Oh, that's cool. I've thought about trying to play like a vanilla WoW. We could do this and track the lifetimes through. Lifetime mismatch. This parameter and this type. Different lifetimes. What's it saying here? It's a shame Blizzard cracks down on custom wild surface so hard. Huh. Oh, that's cool. It's cool that they've done that. Right. Lifetimes, lifetimes. But here in Line Builder, parameter and return type are declared with different lifetimes. Oh, I see. Because here, yes, that there needs to be resolved. Line 35. I don't think that works. Only a single explicit lifetime bound. Yeah. I mean, that makes sense, right? You can't do that. But I think, oh, I understand now. They're basically getting resolved into the same sort of lifetime, saying that this one object must survive for as long as these two lifetimes. Here it says that there's 3 errors. When I go to the list, there's a couple more than 3. Text says a lifetime A, but needs to satisfy a static lifetime requirement. Here, A. It's A. Yeah, we box it up because we can't. Is caption required to live as long as static here? So our default line iterator has the wrong lifetime for that? Okay, let's just put that back to A. And this also. It's a whole lot of money they get in subscriptions. I wonder if it's kind of like the monster cable, right? They can only defend it, or they can only protect their copyright as long as they protect their copyright. Alright. Doesn't implement debug. Okay. Fine. Two warnings. Oh, line 19. Sure, I should have seen that. TTF parser dimensions. Font face. I don't think font face does. I think face is going to have a... No, it does? Okay. All right. Got some warnings, unused imports, trait balance, box, It's not satisfied. Options, line 47. Yes. Deadly, this has to go back to being... Okay, that is boxed. The trait bound box time static. See, by saying static here, that means it's owned. I don't see why this is any different than line builder. We do something very similar with line builder. Oh, I didn't do the as mute here. There it is. Ah, but it's a box. It's not options. That's right, because line builder is an option. You don't need to call as mute on this. How do we give a mutable reference to something in a box? Into pin. I don't want that. See, we should be able to do as mute on this as well. It's a mutable reference to T. What did we do before? As ref or something? Okay. I have to go back and look. It was mutable. Oh, that's strange. Okay. Let's clean up some of these. Warnings are getting annoying. Score. They're polluting my work. That's interesting. Okay. Now to the errors. Let's look at lib for a moment. Ah, there we go. Font data does not live long enough. Borrowed value does not live long enough. Box it up. All right, let's fix these, and then we'll go back to that. Can I borrow it more than once? Yes, that makes sense. Because glyph dimensions is a mutable self, make those the same. Ah. Now it trickles down. Now return a value referencing function parameters options. Returns. See, I was hoping that this tokenizer would generate a tokenizer. Right? It returns something. For this glyph dimensions, it's being borrowed here. We have to provide it here onto the line builder. Now the line builder is temporary. We just needed to build the iterator. Let's make it not a local. Gets built and returned. Now, can I borrow options as mutable because it also borrowed? Okay, let's get the nice little arrows pointing to where things are. The first one. Oh, as mutable. Yes. That return type is wrong. That's rough. Okay. 4, 3 errors. Down to 3. Returning this value requires that options is borrowed for A. See, I was hoping that I could just reuse options over and over and over again. And that's how it was set up before. I was trying to have options produce things that could then be used to create this line iterator. But the borrows have gotten out of hand. So this is copy, max width, that's fine. Nomad Pixel, how are you? How's your game going? That's going all right. I'm playing Lifetime Wars with Rust. You just added replays. Oh, awesome. That's cool. We're trying to create an iterator. Right? This line builder is going to build up a line iterator. The problem is, I think that glyph dimensions here. is borrowing it for a lifetime, that's disagreeable. Yeah, and in this case, we're borrowing it as immutable here for options.glyph dimensions, and then mutable here for line builder. Although, does a line builder need to be mutable? The line builder itself, see, that's returning a reference to this line builder. I don't think it needs to be mutable at all. So we're gonna tone this down a little bit. We also have a trait for that I have to update. All right, I need to see this version. Returns a value referencing data owned by the current function. Yes, it is borrowed there. Cannot return a value referencing function parameter options. And where is that? That's, I guess we just look here. I do not think that options needs to be mutable. Is it because line builder? No. Build? Not saying it. Ah, tokenizer. Another one of these. I was a little overzealous on the mutability thing. All right. And is it the tokens that it's complaining about in the next case? Or is it just because options here? Cannot return a value referencing function parameters options. Why not? Oh, because this temporary is owned by the function. So if we pull that out, extract into variable, this is basically what it's doing. We have glyph dimensions there. And then we have this temporary. So now we can see, oh, it's borrowed here. And it's returned there. Well, there are other ways around that. Because here, I don't really want to give this lifetimes. I mean, because what does this look like? We have A on this lifetime. Here, this is technically a shared borrow to a dyn glyph dimensions, something like this. Type annotation requires that options is borrowed for A. Is it not? It's owned. Ah, that's the problem. Wrap is taking ownership of options instead of just a reference to options. So this function was taking ownership, therefore we had a locally owned value. Got it, got it. Oh, thank you, Rust. I would not have seen that without you. Your strict guidance. Determined, I don't know, determination to make us better programmers. All right. Lifetime Wars. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay, this says it's okay. Oh, it's the test. Cargo test. It's going to bail. Yes, there. Well, if we don't box it, all right, I'm gonna stage this. All right, those are staged in case we, because I'm gonna make some changes that I'm not sure are good changes. Because if we give builder really just a reference to this, then options needs to understand the lifetime of the glyph dimensions. So builder could take reference to 9 glyph dimensions. But then how is it going to hold on to that? This too will have to be a reference to that with a lifetime. Come on. Spaces, apostrophes. Perfect. Yes. Now we have options builder, which then also has to have the same sort of affordance. Plus lifetime on there. Okay. Same with this. I wish Rust Analyzer had an option to add lifetime parameter, right? So I could just do like this and say, add lifetime parameter. Give it a lifetime, and then it just adds it to everywhere that's needed. Then I could just sprinkle it one more time here on the option, on the member property. And this is for lifetime A. Options, missing lifetime. So if we do that, then it has to be a reference, of course. Just to get it to be quiet about that. Perfect. Okay. Let's go back into wrap now. Something that's bugging me now is that we could have, instead of using boxes up here, done the same thing with tokenizer and line builder. We're going to stage those again. I'm going to try this with tokenizer and line builder. their lifetime is different though, because of how the option builder works. Summon none. Do we even need a lifetime on that? And in this case, option builder has a lifetime, it takes a tokenizer, it's fine. With line builder, now line builder is where it's owned. But if we took Diane line builder, get rid of that. Now it's some. How do the lifetimes work here? So this would have to be the same lifetime. Oh, self on this, it's still boxed. Okay, let's. Oops. Those have to have lifetimes. God. Let's spell tokenizer right. Okay, and IZERC. No C at the end. And here we provide default. I mean, something has to own this. What are we working on? We are working on a true type font word wrap crate that I am using inside of my project. So, a bigger picture, we're working on a little psychological thriller game, an audio-based psychological thriller. And I need text true type fonts in 3D space. So, this won't work because this function would own it. This function would go away. The lifetime would be static. I mean, it's not like I can give it a borrow to this. Somebody has to own this. Let's run Godot again. I'll show you I've got the font working inside this. Let's go to, not the keypad, I want to go to the screen. Here's our screen. Let's toss some text on there. Uh-oh. My properties are gone. Oh, that's why the scaling and everything else bailed. My build failed. I couldn't find the stuff. Okay, sorry, I can't go to show you the fonts in 3D. You're working on porting the LightX RISC V Linux environment. Oh, wow. Oh, that's cool. Move free. That's really cool. yeah, I just can't. Like, these have to be owned. And here we can pass in the reference. But it does mean that if we do not have one, we'll have to basically kick this can down the road and create the default later, which kind of sucks, but might provide a better interface. So yeah, here, getting the tokenizer, that would be local tokenizer. Oh, come on. Rename that tokenizer. And then here we have our default. Oh yes, this would then have to have, it would be an option. I don't really like that. Here. Using the Python script that generates a Verilog definition of a system that can be loaded onto an FPGA. Ooh. Wow. That's pretty neat though. If we did toss an option in here, wrap these up. Same thing here. All right. Unwrap RL. So at this point, we should have gotten the option. But we do need the default. Now the white space tokenizer, we can, this shouldn't be all that heavy. If we did want to, where is it? We did want to create this. Right, it's basically nothing. So tossing that on the stack and having it owned here is going to be fine. I didn't want to extract it into a variable there. Unwrap or... I like the idea of using else, but... Oh yes. Variable. Default tokenizer. All right, there's the default tokenizer. Now the same thing for, here, move that down. Same thing for the line builder. I think our default line builder is also very simple.
walking through the desert, searching for the truth. Left everything behind me, went looking out for you.
All right.
Walking through the daylight and sleep under the moon. Watch every single side.
No more box. Get rid of the ORLs. Track to local, rename. Default line builder. There we go. Must be a reference.
Went swimming in the ocean, don't know which one it was. I was diving to the bottom, searching for your love. I heard I was a treasure no one has ever seen. You hide inside a locket, buried in the sand beneath. You're 1,000 miles away, but if you come while I'm away, stay tonight.
No method named build found for option. For line builder? So it's an option here. We unwrap or here. So it got unwrapped there. So I'm not seeing which ones they are. Oh. The line builder itself. Let's return. We have an option here for the line builder. Yes, that should just be line builder.
Let's get to work.
Yay. Okay. That's good. Stage those. Okay. Now let's fix wrap. Line builder. Oops. So down in here, I actually have to measure the glyphs. Oh, we do have our next width. Okay. So we set that up, but we have a to-do failing in glyph dimensions, line 22. Oh, no, that's fine. That's fine. If we look into that, yeah, it has font data. It's fine. Okay. I'm gonna pour some tea.
Well, if you're wondering what's happened, so am I. The computer that we have running our news from time to time took off and went wild. So what we're going to do is start over from the top.
It's a ginger tea today. Grind up the children and put them in the tea. Ginger tea. All right. There we go. Let that cool off a little bit. Now we have our glyph dimensions. Okay, so we're gonna get the width here. Self of font face. Dot. Oh, we have to do this for each and every one of these tokens. Which means we have to look up the glyph ID.
Well, if you're wondering what's happened.
Oh, but we don't get the text. We need the text. Ours is going to be equal to text token dot range dot chars. Now at this point, we should be able to iterate over the characters, looking them up. In fact, we could just while let sum ch equal to that. Oops, on the outside, there we go. Now in the middle, ch dot self let glyph id equal to self dot font face glyph index. This is turning into more of a while let sum, or if let sum. All right. Oh, you know what? We can do this a different way. Should we use a combinator instead? Let's do that. Let's use a combinator. Maddie Live, good morning. How was your stream today? What sort of code? Were you doing coding today or gaming? So let's see. Let's use a combinator here. And for those that don't know, we are using Rust. So text dot. We'll get the slice of the text. So token dot range. Oxen token dot range. This is the range that the token represents. Coding, nice. Then chars. And we will go through each and every one of these chars. At the very end, we will sum up the value. But we need to add some stuff in between because the characters can't be added up. So we need to convert those characters. Let's map a character. We need to get the width. So first we're going to map it. I guess we could do a couple steps right here if we wanted to. Or we could, map it to a glyph, then we map it to a glyph ID and then the width. Do that too. Let's just be really verbose here for a moment. Let's try to get into some lifetime issues. Self dot font face. Not like middle-age crisis lifetime issues, but well, So there's the glyph ID. Now we'll map that. And say self dot font face. Now in this case, we're going to get the glyph horizontal advance for the given glyph ID. Now that's an option. We need to flatten those out. Come on. Where do we end up? This. One more parenthesis there. Oh, I missed a paren there. There we go. And you can see at the right side, we've got these tie pins. That's not code over there. That's just the Rust analyzer showing us what it has info on. Oh, this is nice because I forgot that glyph index returns an option. And then if that option is something, then we get the horizontal advance, which is nice because now we have the horizontal advance. And then if that is something, that unwrap or default, numbers default to 0. So then at this point, technically that needs to be inside of a map.map. Width. Now this should end up converting that option, the U32, into a number. And then sum, we can add them up. Oh, I see. Because this returned an option, and then at this point, we get the option. If we wanted to put the map on the option, we'd have to join those two lines. We'll do a combinator and a combinator. That's fine. We'll have to do the same thing with the next one. Join that on there. And somewhere in here, add another parenthesis. Font face, glyph. We get the glyph. Map it. Flatten it. Unwrap for default. Good, good. Now this returns an option to a U16. And this here is a U16? That's surprising to me. I didn't think that was correct. Oh, you know what? We just call unwrap for default on this portion there. We didn't need the map. Okay. Ooh, as U32s. There we go. Ta-da. Get it to match the trait. Cargo test. Ah, missed one. Meanwhile, Rust on Risk View already works. Already works well. Wow. We're gonna joke about the lack of Motorola 680X support. It's still actively being worked on. Really? Oh wow. Wow. Anybody remember Windows NT that ran on Risk forever ago? Now here we need the text. Do we have the text? We do have the text. Behind a shared reference. What? Move occurs because token of range has a type of range use size which does not implement the copy trait. And what else? Probably down below. Start. Dot dot. Token dot range. Dot. That's right. Alpha, PowerPC, and MIPS. Yeah. I think in my school that I went to, they ended up having NT. It was not on x86. It was probably Alpha. I don't think there were PowerPCs. It was weird. Alright, test failed. Just because it panicked. Oh, lovely. So what was the width? Alright, this is exciting. I think my test was poorly created anyways. Let's go back to the test. Oh, get rid of that highlight. There we go. I said, okay, wrap at 3000 EMs. I have no idea how big 3000 EMs is for this font. Or 30,000 EMs. Let's go with 3 and see if it breaks at somewhere else in the line. Oh, now we're getting infinite looping. Okay. Let's go check on wrap. We should have some tests for wrap. You've never seen them at Goodwill? Yeah. Alright, so in this case, we're given a string. Got the line builder. The line builder here, calling build on it. Should probably test out this default line iterator. Oh, what's going on here? So, presume we're getting a width. Next width. It's greater than, oh, are we adding next width anywhere? Width is equal to next width. So if everything succeeds, we need to adjust that. Otherwise, we never break here. And why would this? This should have stopped. We should have run out of tokens. Let's see what the token is. Oh, it's borrowed anyways. Oh. No capture. Alright, so yes. Next width is 3,350. Token is 0 to 4. Because why? Oh, well, do we never get past the first token? Self.tokens. We should be incrementing the iterator. Unless this is providing the first character. Where's line builder used? Word wrap. This wrap returns that. See, the whole point of this wrap function is to return an iterator over strings. Strings that represent each line, or a stir slice. Stir? Okay. So if word wrap is returning that, why is this never terminating? I don't think it's getting called over and over again. Let's see, line builder build. That should not be getting called over and over again. Because we have a line iterator which has its state, and we're using our peakable tokens to eventually run out of. So when we come in, next we're going to optionally return an item. At the, oh, do we always return something, don't we? We never return nothing. That's the problem. Problem is that when we do run out of elements, no, it should have bailed here. That try character, question mark. If we don't have the next one, that would bail. So for whatever reason, self.tokens isn't incrementing, isn't advancing, which probably means that this is at the wrong spot. Because we keep going over the first one over and over and over again, which means we come in, peek, get the dimensions, say debug. And then we bail, but we never get past that. I see, so our first break there. Huh, a little bit of a mental breakdown here. I saw this so clearly the other day. We peek, get the dimensions of the peaked character, and if we can add that, the current line, we do that. All right. So we have the token, we have the next width, and then if the next width is greater than the max width, we break. Or it appears that this character cannot fit in a line. Because we said it's 3,000, we're going to wrap at 3,000. Oh, this is interesting because this character is wider than the maximum of a line. And so if the next width, okay, hold on. We only want to do this if the character itself, oh, sorry, let me be more explicit. We only want to break out if the character itself can fit on the line. So if it cannot fit on a line, because somebody's like me has provided bad data, we want every character on its own line, regardless of its width. Okay, I'm going to save the glyph dimensions to a local glyph width. So only do this if the glyph width is less than or equal to self.max width. Oops. And the next width is greater than that. Okay. Wow, that's an interesting edge case. I did not think I'd get into that. Hey, look at that. This is a test of the word wrap. Ah, yeah, it's doing too many now. We should absolutely have some unit tests on this piece itself. Okay, how do we set up unit tests on this? Default line iterator. Give it max width, peakable tokens, and dimensions. Okay. Now I'm going to go back over to the line builder. We're in line builder. Word wrap. There. So let's say our max width is 3000 because I provided much too small stuff. Glyph dimensions. This is going to be our ETF dimensions. And we need a font face for this. Oh, that's right. Now this read font is from crate /tests ::. All right, now we have our white space tokenizer. Let's just call that tokenizer. Get rid of the defaults there. Line builder, and that. Okay. Mismatch types. Expected unit type. Found that. Let. Oh. Line iterator. and then assert equals. You know what? We should collect that to lines. Okay. What was it? TEST, comma, S, E. All right. We have to extract the text. Oops, that should be, okay, yep, text has test in it. All right, let's test too narrow. Yes, okay. Good, we've captured that in a test. That, and we should really come up with a better way to build these things out. Because the first condition here is whether or not same. I'm gonna get rid of this for a moment. Is it kept adding it to words, where what I really want is for each character to be on a separate line, because each character is huge. It's either that or we override the width. Okay, sorry, background stuff. We could check with the font to see what its kind of bounding box is for these things. I don't want to do it that way. I wanted to check to see. Yeah. See if the glyph width is greater than max width, then we're in a special situation where the glyph needs to be alone on its own line. So technically we need to do like this, where we get the next one, set this, and then break. Set the width, set the last text, the last token, then break out. Just gonna stamp it out, and then we'll see how to refactor it down a little bit later. Oh, you know what? Why don't we just have an else here? Oops. Nope. Again, did it the same way. So then we put it on here, but we didn't break. So we still need to break. I think this should be a Boolean that we save. You know what? Yeah. Let single glyph line is equal to that. All right. Get rid of that. Oops. Lost a comment on there. I'm leaving the formatting up to Rust Analyzer. Okay. If not, single that. Oh, it got rid of that and that. Okay, so if the glyph is long, etc. But then when we get to the end, we need to break out of the loop because of this strange case. Okay, let's give it a test. Nope. So we came through, but hey, this glyph is longer than that. We do not break here. Consume the token, check to see it's not a new line, set our width and last token, and then if that's true, we break. That should have produced one character. Oh, but we're looking at the words. Oh, that's right. Our tokens are actually words. So this does make sense. Because what do you do in the case where your lines, you're meaning that you're to have lines very short. I think our test is broken. Because let's say that you want to have that amount of width, but your word is like this, test. Right? In this case, we probably need to break up the word into smaller chunks. So we either need to figure out how to hyphenate it, or we just force it really, really narrow. This is a situation I was handling, goodness, in the other project before I ripped this out. Okay. And the way to do this word wrap is to produce multiples. All right. Now, because we're going to have a partial, I think we have to actually store the partial. Partial. We'll give this a token. We'll have to split a token. Because if we do get into this case, we'll just split it up. And then use part of it on this line, part of it on the next line. And in this case, our iterator is going to be a chain of the options plus the other. Let tokens equals self dot partial dot chain self dot tokens. Oh, that's not a function. Option has an iterator. Oh, we have to call dot iter on the option. Type mismatch. Expected struct token found. Oh. Into iter? That should work. Okay. Then we can use tokens here. Instead of using self.tokens down below, we'll just use tokens. What? What? Oh, it needs to be peekable. Dot peekable. Okay. So then in this case, we can add one token to the next line just by filling in that partial. Okay, yes, here, partial is none. Cannot move out of self.partial, which is behind a mutable reference. If we take it, oh, does chain want to consume? Ew. Takes an into iterator. Ah, that's not gonna work. Can't get this extremely simple and intuitive pipeline to work. Oh my goodness. I think I had a, let's see. I had a little example of that kind of working before tracing went 1.0. Did tracing go 1.0? Git. Oh. More on my profile. I keep forgetting I have to go to that other. Legacy tracing. That's going all right, Tommy Luca. Xenochrome, you can take a look at that. This is the one I was using in the server, but it's 5 months old now. Ooh, prepare a patch set. Huh. Fancy. That's neat. This is new. Let's see, how do I select the first one? Oh, I just click on it. Let's see, the colors aren't all that great. continue. Neat. What's at the bottom of this? Continue. To so-and-so. Crazy. Cry break. Ever tell the story of as kind of high stress moment in my career where we had this big push. I'll just tell the story, and then I should probably get going. But we were having this big push, right? And was working at this company, and there's only a couple of us back-end engineers. I was a back-end engineer at the time, and doing PHP code, my SQL stuff, etc. And a buddy, a coworker, is doing, he's kind of leading, and he had been working at home, coming in, doing his work, just working all the time. It was a couple of really stressful weeks, but we got everything working. And there was an all hands meeting, and okay, we all go over to the all hands. It was just a short walk, not a big company. And like, hey, where'd so and so go? I don't know. I actually got up in the meeting and went and walked over to their desk, only to find them crying under their desk. Like, they had been using what is it, like a Dropbox? They've been using like a Dropbox to sync their workspace between their home and their work computer, and it had just deleted everything before they could commit. Yeah, it was a rough day for him. Oddly enough, his editor had been open and had a recover from backup. Like, his editor was actually configured to take snapshots, and so it had saved his code outside of where Dropbox was syncing during its little 5-minute snapshots or whatever he was doing. I know he was kind of paranoid. And so he was able to get his code back because his editor had been keeping backups for him. I guess like in case the editor crashed or whatever. So, but that wasn't all that obvious. So we sat down and looked at it. It was a rough day. Yeah, it was a rough day. Alright, so cannot move out of self.tokens, which is behind immutable reference. We could put the tokens back afterwards. Kind of take ownership of it and then store it again later. Which seems really sketchy. It's either that or we somehow deal with this here. I don't think I really want to deal with this here. I'm gonna go sketchy. We'll use sketchy here. Tokens is now an option. And we're just gonna take stuff out of there and put stuff back in there. We're gonna take ownership of tokens. Take returns an option, but in this case, we know that the iterator should exist. Because only within this function should it not exist. And then at the very end of this, I'm going to take this iterator and put it back. Oh, but our iterator type is going to be different. Isn't it? Ooh. So if we come all the way down to the end and try to stuff tokens back into self.tokens, like here, self.tokens.replace tokens. That type is going to be wrong. Ah! Dun dun dun. Thank you, Rust. May I have another? We need another emoji, right? We've got emoticon. We've got Clippy. We've got Angry Clippy. But we don't have Clippy with a paddle. We need another one. Alright, so this isn't going to work. Because chain takes ownership. And if we clone the iterator, it's not going to advance it. Oh, we could keep track of how many we advanced over. Or we put this in a different function where we first go over the one iterator and then the next one. So this while loop could be extracted into a function that we pass the iterators into. We first do the one, then the other. We'd have to pass some state in there too. All right, let's get rid of that there. Coming back into self.tokens. Because if we run out of the second one, yes, and that's no longer options. All right, this one's a little too. Oh. Needs more energy. I thought we already listened to this one today. All right, now how do we do this? How do we do this? Because I want this to first run with the option. And maybe we could make this a closure? Let iter loop equals tokens. Okay. Now we need to know what type tokens is, and in this case, tokens is going to be define iterator with item equal to token. Something like that, maybe? Oh, no, it needs to be a peekable around that. If you turn an option into an iterator and then consume next, what happens? Because maybe this shouldn't be partial like this. This should be a option to an iterator. But then something has to own it. Ugh, okay. Alright, well here's our loop. We've got some closure going on. This is getting a little blah. Because in one case we want to be able to peek, in the other case we don't really care. Peekable. Expected trait. Oh, wrong button. No method named peak found for reference. Oh, it needs to be sized. But that... we can't do that there. We have to create another trait type to handle that. No. This is getting weird. Okay. No closure. Okay. It's not like we can unshift things onto an iterator. Especially a peekable iterator. Okay, what else could we do? Thinking of deconstructing that option. Partial equal to self dot partial dot take. So if this is something, what are we going to do? We're going to see if we can put it on the string. But if it's partial, that means that we just had a new line. So if we had a new line, it's only ever going to go into the beginning of something. All right, let's just make two cases here. Partial being the special case, and then given similarities, we'll extract some stuff. Oh, Starlink, come on, buddy. All right, we'll brute force this. I can't see the whole thing. All right. Give the glyph width. I mean, some of this is going to be like all the same. Oh, that's silly. Why don't we just do this for closure? I was doing the closure at the wrong level. It should have been the contents of this. All right, let's extract this out to a closure. Take 2. All right, select everything inside of the while loop via blah, delete. Let foo equals All right. What theme am I using? Oh, well, thank you, Zealous Programming. I'm using Challenger Deep. Iterator. 6 tokens. Oh, you know what? Let's just... Oh, I didn't do that right. See, that should instead be token for the current token. So given the current token, what are we going to do? Get the width. Oh, this is probably borrowed. That's right. Now we need to return some sort of result so that we know whether or not to break out. So in that case, what are we going to do? Maybe can consume? Call it something like that. Okay. And just return a true or false. Just call it consume. False. Ah, that should be a return false. Same there. And here. Ah, but in this case, if it's a single glyph line, we still want to break. Otherwise, true. Which really means that we should be returning single glyph line, not single glyph line. Okay. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay. What do you mean? Can consume. Isn't that what I call? Oh, I called it consume. Cannot borrow is mutable. Why does it need to be mutable? No, no, no. We're going to not do that. I don't want that to be mutable. It's going to tell me that it moved, right? Closure requires unique access. Second borrow occurs here. We could pass in the tokens. But now we have it twice. Needs to be mutable. Because we borrow it here is mutable. Hmm. What does Peekable does Peekable implement something? It's just an iterator. And why was it that we couldn't do the while loop? I'm trying to remember. I think it was because the iterator types were different. Wasn't it the iterator types? Because if we try to make this peekable, yes, we need our new type. Because peekable here is supposed to implement iterator, right, which it does. What is this? Next if? Oh, that's nightly only. Okay. Next exists, but the following trait bounds were not satisfied. Oh, it's because, could we say it's just something that's impulse iterator? Yeah, this needs dine. But now next doesn't exist. All right, let's look at the bigger error. Expected peekable, found mutable reference. Okay. I get that. Required by this to be peekable. Oh, it's not complaining about what I thought at all. Okay. It's complaining that gave it the wrong thing. That self.tokens. It's not peekable. All right, let's try this again. We're gonna put the while loop in there. There. Where is it? There. Let us save. Self.tokens.peek. This should be peekable. Oh, and brew, whatever. Expected to be unit. Technically, we don't need the return type anymore, but we do need the returns break again. Yeah, let's get rid of that. Then here we did have a break. If single line. There we go. Token's not next here. Should. See, I don't think that's an error that's happening right now. Oh, come on, rename. The size for the values of type dine iter not be known at compile time. No, expect to struct peekable. Oh. Let's remove the reference. Wait, where? Wow, okay, that went quite a ways. Token not found in the scope for good reason. It also means we can get rid of it here. Why does it think it's not peekable? How could it not be peekable? Okay, so we got the warnings. So it has to be sized. feels like we're like running into macro territory here. Okay, so to undo some of that. Oh well. So with this partial, we need to start the next line. Because they didn't fit on the last one. So if we deal with the partial here, what are we supposed to do? We're supposed to increment last and update the width. So we need to keep consuming partial. So now we know how wide it is. And this isn't really, it's not glyph width, is it? Because when we ask this for a width, we're giving it a token. This is token dimensions. Oh, wow. Okay, let's rename that token dimensions. It almost feels like we should split that up a little bit more. I know we're going to need a token split here in a moment. So we have our token width. And if the token width is wider than a line, we need to split it again. Yeah, then we're just going to be breaking the token up using this one portion, skipping the whole next while loop. I really don't like this. I think I'm going to take a break. I've been coming up on 3.5 hours here. Probably pick it up tomorrow. I don't know.
The way computers talk to each other.
Gotta let this sink in. Think about it. The difference in streaming. You don't get to slow down and think about things as much. Probably should while streaming, just to. I feel like it doesn't make as good of a stream sometimes, although probably better educationally. Actually, just sit and think, figure out what makes sense. I feel like some of these things kind of rush in and end up backing out too often. Well, let's see. We've got Brooke Zerker making a game in GGEZ and Rust. Who else? Yeah, let's raid Brooke. We haven't raided Brooke in forever. I appreciate y'all hanging out. It's been good. And I hope you do well on your projects. You got some interesting ones. So, y'all take care. Until next time. Bye-bye.